On today's episode, we're going to deep dive into that team up there in Idaho, the Boise State Broncos, and we're going to break them down from top to bottom, from Coach Spencer Danielson to what does Boise State look like post-Ashton Jeanty. Everything that you need to know in the college football world, and you was looking for your latest plug, look no further. This is the world of CFB, my friend. Let's get it. Welcome to the show. It's your boy Moon, back at it again, credential media member of the CFB Nation and host of World of College Football, Level Straight. All right, cool. Today's episode is a very special one. It's near and dear to my heart. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about the Boise State Broncos and what my approach to them is in 2025, what you can expect, and also a breakdown of their team roster, mainly the starters that we want to look at and highlight and shine some spotlight on the team in blue. Now, if you bleed blue, come on, pull out the chair, come sit down and get cozy as we break down your team and your beloved squad up there in Boise, Idaho. And I'm going to paint the picture and set the scene for you as we welcome everybody in. Special shout out to our sponsors, Bet US, and special shout out to the wonderful CFB Nation. Let's see. All right, we good. Boise, Idaho. They came in waves, not as raindrops, but as an avalanche, ready to rumble, no pun intended, the kind of force that makes you feel the rumbling below the earth's surface, the kind of force that a whole small town can feel like it's underneath its shadow. In Boise, they call all of this madness the blue turf effect. And in Boise, they bleed blue like you would have, like it's nobody's business. In 2024, year of our Lord, we got a chance to see a masterclass of Boise State identity coming full circle into the surface. Now, this was velocity. This was noise and certainty. They got a lot of buzz coming from a lot of players, a lot of people in the college football world. Coming into the season, we had high hopes for Boise, and they absolutely obliterated those expectations en route to a college football playoff. But more about that in a second. This was Ashton Jeanty running like the thunder underneath this avalanche, and this was Maddox Madsen being an orchestrator, a facilitator, and slinging touchdowns like he had a personal grudge against gravity. This was the resurrection of a program that had drifted too close to inertia. I mean, think about it. There was a once upon a time on this wonderful world of college football that we see where Boise State and the Broncos, they had to deal with winning and winning and winning. I mean, for 26 straight seasons, Boise State found a way to win enough where it matters. I'm talking about bowl game victories for you for 26 straight seasons. That is unheard of in this day and age. That's unheard of specifically for the Boise State Broncos. And in this, day and age where Boise is kind of like an afterthought in the G5 race. And I say that because if you're not a P4 school, it seems like people don't really want to take you seriously in this wonderful world of college football. But I'll be the person that sits on the top of the mountain and I'll ride down with the Avalanche to tell you, Boise State Broncos fans, that bleeding blue in this wonderful world of CFB is the perfect identity, the perfect reason why we can believe in 2025. With this expanded playoff format, with the tangled knot of realignment on the horizon, Boise never blinked, not one single time. They kept showing up with that blue collar attitude, no pun intended, But showing up is not the same as breaking through. And breaking through, what does that look like in this wonderful world of college football? Well, let's take a little vintage look in the past and rewind the clocks a little bit. In 2023, it looked like the run might finally end for the Boise State Broncos. They stumbled to a 4-5 start, the worst start this program has seen in decades. Because think about it, they were used to winning. They were used to winning with a guy named Chris Peterson. Chris Peterson at Boise State from 2006 to 2013 had a jaw-dropping 92-12 record under his belt. That included 2 undefeated seasons. In 2006, the Boise State Broncos went 13-0 and 14-0 in 2009. He led the Broncos to 2 BCS Bowl Championship Series. For the people that don't remember, BCS Bowl wins, both Fiesta Bowls. Fiesta Bowls love Boise State. But he became the first 2-time winner of the Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Year award. His teams were known for creative play calling. You remember that Statue of Liberty play that we got for Boise State Broncos, the disciplined execution that we saw from Coach Peterson. Then he took his talents from 2014 to 2019 to a struggling Washington program and turned it into a Pac-12 powerhouse. And he went 55-26 in 6 seasons out there. I mentioned Coach Peterson because he set the stage for where we were. And when we talk about Coach Avalanche, I mean, Coach Avalanche was in a completely different situation. 4-5 is not what we're used to. 4-5 is not going to get the job done. 4-5, 4-5, 4-5. Not gonna cut it, bro. Not gonna cut it. You know what? We're about to make a slight change. Bet. Say less. It's not gonna cut it. He was once the homegrown son of Boise, and it hurt them down to their absolute core to have to see this man go and see him walk out of the door, especially after we essentially groomed him to be where he is right now. And that's when Spencer Danielson decided to step in, not with the noise, not with all of the extra hoopla and all this buzz that you hear. He came in and he said, we're going to stand 10 toes down on being a disciplined program that believes in Jesus Christ and that ultimately believes that he can be the reason why we break through and push ourselves to the next limit. And that next limit is over the mountaintop and down on the Avalanche. A Mountain West title. Yeah. 3 straight wins when he took over this program. And the program decided to exhale, and say to themselves, we can be Boise again. You know, when I'm doing this deep dive, and I paid attention to this deep dive 100%, I really said to myself, Boise is such an interesting team, not just for what they did in 2024, but the things that they had to bounce back from in 2023. This team became reborn. And if we're going to really be able to set the stage in a way that is true to the soul and true to a way that Boise State fans can respect, we got to go back and set the clocks. So that's why I give you a little breakdown of what that looks like in this college football world. Now, 2024, Boise State actually stopped surviving and said to themselves, we're going to start hunting everybody that's out there right now. And it all started, in my opinion, not just with number 2, Boise State. You know who number 2 is. Maddox Madsen, the 5'10" cannonball, came in from American Fork High School and became the face of this resurgence that we're looking at right now. He wasn't flashy, but he was absolutely surgical. He put up over 3,000 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, and he had a sense of calm underneath the pressure that makes you question whether or not he was a actual freshman quarterback. He is one of the key reasons why Boise State was so successful in 2024, year of our Lord. But then you talk about Ashton Jeanty. We don't just get to talk about Ashton Jeanty without mentioning 2,601 rushing yards and say, oh, he just did that on accident. No, he did that with a furiosity about him. You don't finish second in the Heisman race unless your name sits beside ghosts like Barry Sanders in college football lore. You don't actually step into a position where you're nominated as All-American and universally recognized for your explosion, and that's on accident. You don't rewrite Boise State history unless you carry every burden that comes with it. And Ashton Jeanty did just that in 2024 and then some. He ran with the control fury that we love to see. He caught passes like a wideout. He broke tackles like a fullback possessed. And when the whistle finally blew on the 2024 season and we're raining down in confetti in a playoff berth is there on the table. A Mountain West title is there on the table in a Fiesta Bowl trip. It's also there on the table. Did I interest you in a first round bye too? Ashton Jeanty was one of the main reasons why we could stand on the top of this and look down and say, look, he is the soul of this Avalanche. But now the Avalanche must find a new core and a new identity about itself. Why do you keep mentioning Avalanche, Mo? Why is that so important? Because Idaho's mountains in their mountainous terrain, especially in areas like Salmon River, if you know, you know, they experience a high frequency of avalanche due to its deep snowpacks, varied slopes, and frequent winter storms. Stay with me. Stay with me. This avalanche that we saw in 2024 swept the world by storm. But now we got to find a new core to build all of this around because Ashton Jeanty is now in the NFL with the Las Vegas Raiders. Congratulations to Ashton. 2025 comes and it's like a new dawn because they do it without number 2 in the backfield. They do it without no Taylor Green either, who left behind legacy of flashes and frustration for us Boise State fans. And Malachi Nelson, the highly touted USC transfer, came and went like a gust of spring wind. And now he's at UTEP, University of Texas in El Paso. They got the survivors. And Boise State doesn't need savior unless his name is Jesus Christ. Maddox Maxson is back. Let's just start right there. We can start right there. Maddox Maxson is not just back, but he is enhanced. He added a lot of fireworks in 2024. And I feel like Maddox Maxson is not arriving to this party unaided, unattended. Boise is one of the deepest offensive lines in the group of 5. Just look no further. Their receiving core may not have a clear alpha yet, but their tight end room, elite. Their backfield, a volatile mix of production, breakout potential, and behind it all is Spencer Danielson. Why is Spencer Danielson so important beyond him being the head coach of the Boise State Broncos? Well, this guy knows how to get it out in the mud. Azusa Pacific University, that's where he started. He also played linebacker, so he got it out the mud in that way too. A ball coach. 2017, he actually started his tenure at Boise as a graduate assistant and steadily climbed the ladder going up for defensive line coach, co-defensive coordinator, and eventually full-time. I am the defensive coordinator. In November of 2023, everything decided to change. Everything decided to change because they fired Anthony Avalos and Danielson became the new interim head coach. Why is this so important, Moon? Because just weeks later, he led the Boise State Broncos to a Mountain West championship and was officially named the program's 12th head coach. And program said, hey, look, coach, we're going to bet on you because we shouldn't have been in a position where we're struggling the way we are right now. Let's just be honest. But since that time, since he signed a contract for real, my guy is 15-3 as the head coach at Boise State. Back-to-back Mountain West titles in 2023 and 2024, year of our Lord. College football playoff berth. Boise State's first ever CFB appearance in 2024, and he earned a first round bye doing it on his first time really getting into it. For real. He signed that 5-year contract on the dotted line, said sign me up so fast in April 2025. 2.2 million. All right, my bad, coach. I ain't trying to say a pocket. See, never kind of man pockets, but look, he the second highest paid coach in the Mountain West Conference, and you think that they're gonna drop a bag for no reason? No, They got a guy. That man's career winning percentage right now is 83%. Second only to Boise State legend. Who do we just talk about? Chris Peterson. Why is Chris Peterson mentioned right next to Spencer Danielson? Because, Coach Peterson still mentors Coach Danielson to this day. To this day. Why does this matter so much about Coach Danielson? Because his philosophy is everything that you need to know. He's all about preaching unity. He's all about, you better give me a shot. And when we get our shot, we're going to run through that wall. He always is a heartfelt message of finishing strong no matter where he is and no matter where he's been at on the coaching ladder. He's always done that. He blends emotional intelligence and leadership. And when you see that happen together, that's why he took over as an interim coach. That's why he rallied a struggling team with a heartfelt message, and they said, we're going to finish strong for you, coach. That's why the players started responding back with unity, and now that culminated to walking into a championship run, and now he's a vocal advocate for fair access to the college football playoff for all of the group of 5 teams. So if you're a G5 team, you might as well be shaking Spencer Danielson's hand because he's helping you out. Dang, man, you said a mouthful. I know, and that's only the head coach. That's only the head coach. Well, what does he care about, Moon? What's his values? What means a lot to him? He got that finish strong mentality. This mantra, he's going to help rally the troops. He is he's a player's coach, 100%. And this is marked by the 2023 turnaround that we saw with Boise and the Broncos. He blends faith and values, and he blends it in his coaching styles. His Christian faith by itself is making him the ultimate servant leader in this role. And he's using that approach, and he's blending that humility, accountability, unity, and blending it all together and said, we're going to bleed blue. Hey, man, I'm just giving you. What about ball talk, Moon? I understand he know how to praise the Lord. I get it. But what about ball talk? Well, look, his team's going to have the versatility that you want to love. He's going to have gap discipline that you can come to fall in love with. And you're going to have an aggressive front 7 play every single time. You can bet your bottom dollar you're going to have that. Boise State has showcased that over the last 2 years, that they know how to blend vision with consistency, with unity, accountability, and everybody has to do their part. Everybody has to play their role in this wonderful world of college football. And Boise State's role is, let's knock on the door in 2023 for a Mountain West title game, and let's answer that call. Let's get to the college football playoff and reach those heights. But in 2025, where do we go, Moon? We got to go way beyond that, way beyond that. And that starts with the coach. Now, you spend that much time on a coach, yeah, you have to enter into the conversation back where we started. Ashton Jeanty. If the early signs are right, this won't be a team that is playing in the post-Ashton Jeanty era for just another bowl game. Oh, we lucky to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Or, hey, let's go to Boca Raton. No, they're aiming for the college football playoff and honestly, the college football playoff national championship. And they already got a taste of what it feels like. They already understands what heartbreak of the second round feels like. And they lost to a team where they got their best player bottled up most of the game. And the whole entire country had to feel it. So in return, Boise and Idaho said, you know what? Y'all are going to feel this avalanche. This is the return of the Avalanche. Enter into this conversation, Act 2 of this story. Let's talk about the ones who stayed, because sometimes they absolutely matter the most in this wonderful world of college football. The ones who stayed after Coach Peterson decided to dip, after Avalanche decided, let's just get him on out of here, after Boise State said goodbye and waved off to the sunset to Ashton Jeanty, the one that stayed, Mad Max Matson. Why is he so important to you, Moon? Why? Why is he so important to you? Because he isn't just he ain't a backup, bro. He's not a placeholder. He's not the kid with the size questions that people seem to have when he came into school. He is the guy. 3,000 yards, and you can count them, 23 touchdowns, one Bo Pearson defensive carving, playbook mastery season under his belt, and yet somehow, some way, he's still being overlooked by the national media, and that is completely fine because Maddox Madsen actually prefers it that way. He let the headlines just chase somebody else in the Mountain West. Let them go to Nicolosi Fowler. Let them go to the other guys because he's too busy dealing with touchdowns and dealing in truth. And the truth is that the truth will set you free. And behind him, he has a running back room that looks to set him free completely in 2025 year of our Lord. Why are you talking with so much passion, Moon? Because you see that kid and you see that energy that you got. He's a kid that you can believe in, Boise State Broncos fans. You can believe in. You can go to the blue legacy of a field that you have and show up every single Saturday knowing that week in and week out, I am going to get the best version of Maddox Madsen. He showed it to me last year as a freshman. Behind him, though, this running back room is going to be a sight to see. Let's start with this kid. We got every single style, weapon, every threat that you could hope and want for in 2025 year of our Lord. Let's talk about Boise State, all of Mountain West, honorable mention running back Malik Sherrod. The transfer from Fresno State is a walking highlight, and he didn't just run for 966 and catch for 260 in 2023. He electrified stadiums 100%. He did it on kick returns. He did it on chunk plays. He did it with breakaway speed. Like, it's no secret that this kid can get busy. He's not no Ashton Jeanty, make no mistake. There's nobody in this room. Matter of fact, just scrub your memory. Let's just do Men in Black. Let's just do Men in Black. We're gonna hold it up, and we're gonna look into the camera, and we're gonna say, nobody is gonna come back and be Ashton Jeanty ever again. That was an anomaly. That was a blip on a radar. That was God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Ashton Jeanty, so that Boise State could believe in and experience what it feels like to have a Heisman contender. That's not coming back to the doors, but if you're going to have some dash and some flash and some power in this running back room, you might as well have some electricity, something that you can get up out of your seat, something that can put some juice in your veins. No kid is going to do this more than probably him, Malik Sherrod. He's chaos and cleats for you, bro. And next to him is some dogs. Let's talk about this kid. Shout out to Nino, downtown, Nino Brown, and my guy Dino. Debbie Darlings. If you're not watching Debbie Darlings on DCFB Nation, man, I gotta tell you, you're missing out because you could be up to date and fully aware of some of these kids that are ready to pop out, and you could have known about them a year ago, but now you're paying attention to them now. This kid was talked about for quite some time now. Jambers Dubar. Vision, balance, technician, underrated asset that is just waiting to explode in 2025 in this running back room. And I feel like no group of 5 team has a backfield that's quite like this mixture that we see right now. Shout out to you, Governor. Shout out to you, Governor. My dog Moon live again. We killing the game right now. Oh, goodness gracious. Shout out to Bet US too. When you talk about Jambers and what he does that makes me happy is his decisiveness when he starts to hit the hole, and you talk about his weight. He put on weight. He stacked the weight. You needed your running back with that frame to fill out in a way that could be masterful for you, Boise State fans. Let's just be real. You want him to actually step into this role because Ashton Jeanty is one of the shorter running backs. Jambers Dubar is like a different variation of what you're going to get. So his body type fits. It's going to be a new wrinkle. And you saw him already go to work last year in spurts. He's waiting. He's on the horizon. He's there for you. And then you got somebody like my guy Dylan Riley, freshman turned weapon for you, kick return demon. Sire Gaines. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about Sire, saying that Sire Gaines is the sleeper in the running back room. And if Ashton Jeanty was thunder, then Sire Gaines might as well be the lightning coiled in his muscles. He was hurt early last year. He's healthy now, and he's now dangerous. I could spend an hour and 50 minutes just talking about their running back room post Ashton Jeanty just to get you to believe in something that I already know. This running back room is going to be just fine. Just fine. And instead of having 2,601, how many yards did Ashton Jeanty have in 2024 year of our Lord Moon? Ashton Jeanty had 2,601. Yep, you got it right. You got it right. You got it right. Instead of it just coming from one guy, you're going to see it broken up in all different types of ways in 2025. Whether it's Sire Games, Dylan Riley, Jambers Dubar, Malik Sherrod, it's just a lot of guys to talk about in this offense. Then there's Latrell Caples, where he's going to come and draw a line in the turf and say that I am alpha. I'm making my hand raised, just like me stepping out on a church pew. That I am alpha. I'm a 6-year senior. Okay, roast me if you want to. That don't matter because I'm Texas bred. I'm Boise made. There's no kid that I'm probably more excited about in this wide receiver core than him. Because if he does what I think he can do in 2025, he is going to get all types of postseason invites and accolades because Maddox Madison needs somebody to throw to that he can trust. That's a steady heartbeat of 3 offensive errors. He's been through it all at Boise. I mean, if you want somebody that's true and through, bleeding blue, look no further. Like 3 scores in the first half against San Diego State last year. That wasn't a flash or a blip on the radar, bro. That was, you need to be warned. You need to be aware because people think that, oh well, Caples is gonna come in, mentor the young guys, let them go crazy. You know, he don't got much juice left. But I'm here to tell you that man been taking care of his body, and he's here to finish what they started. And what they started is running for the natty again. Let's talk about it again in a deep dive because we're only in Act 2. Beside him, Chris Marshall, Phil Steele preseason All Mountain West 13 2025 year of our Lord. Wide receiver Chris Marshall is the wild card. Once a blue chip signee at Texas A&M, then he went to Ole Miss, then Kilgore. Now he finally is a Bronco. Welcome home, Chris. We're glad to have you because there's something poetic in the air. There's something that just reads like a fairy tale. Him coming back might read and feel like a cautionary tale. However, this is the redemption song that's going to be on your playlist in 2025 because the hands are real. The frame is imposing. And if the timing clicks with Maddox Madsen, he is a star in the waiting. Don't sleep. Don't sleep. Don't sleep on Chase Penry either. Colorado State transfer, route technician, quiet, but he is the glue of this team. He's the kind of guy that makes 3rd and 7 feel inevitable. And I'm going to come through clutch for you time and time again, every single time. But I could talk about this wide receiver core, like I said, with just as much fury and passion and go all the way down. But I could convince you that Boise State is going to have a loaded offense just by mentioning one guy only. This kid, Matt Lauter. He is Boise State's All Mountain West first team addition in 2024 year of our Lord. Why does this matter so much, Moon? Well, it matters so much because I'm looking at him and I'm saying to myself, you don't just wind up stumble into All Mountain West first team honors. I looked at my research and I said, let's go see it in action. The way he moves is a freight train and shoulder pads. 619 yards, 7 touchdowns, first team All Mountain West. Yes, you got to say it again because the people need to know. Mackey candidate award type of guy. And when the lights are the brightest, the moments are the biggest. He finds daylight. He finds daylight. Aspen State. how you felt about that kid. Ask UNLV how you feel about Matt Lauder. Ask anybody that tried to cover him since he's been there, because he doesn't run routes. He hunts zones. He makes defenders shrivel. That is not because it's the Avalanche and it's cold outside out there, not all. It's because you actually see a real baller coming through. For all the love that my guy, my Tyler Warren got last year for Penn State, I mean, you have a tight end that could get just as much praise this year, and he's one of the best in the Mountain West. Literally, probably one of the best in the nation that people don't even want to talk about. My guy Lauder, and then you talk about the other guy because you might think it's just Lauder. Nope. They got Mac Wagner, a 6'5" block and release monster with soft hands, steel fists, and is gonna come and try to square up with you and then say first down, Boise State. Why? Because chances are that he completed something over your head top. Chances are that you can't be able to guard him because he's too smart. Why is you saying that, Moon? Well, he was Boise State's Mountain West Scholar athlete in 2023 and 2024. They got some weapons, bro. They have some weapons. And I haven't even talked about the trenches yet. But before we do, let's get to it because this is a jam-packed episode. This is Boise State's Deep Dive, and I'm your boy, Moon, host of World of College Football. And the Avalanche is rolling. We'll keep more of this party going right after this short break.
Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. Bet US. Get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the off season, even though we don't celebrate that. You know, CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7. But there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. BetUS has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money. Special shout out to our sponsors. Special shout out to Boise State. Bleed blue, baby. Let's continue and keep the ball rolling. The Avalanche is continuing to come downhill. This offensive line is going to be fierce in 2025, bro. Cage Casey, probably one of my favorite names. Cage. This man's first name is Cage, like a steel cage match. It's just spelled with a K, not a C. You know, for all the Grammarly freaks out there. Cage Casey is back again to seal the blind side. Mason Randolph is healthy once again. Roger Carrion, Hall Schmidt, Tyler Keenoff. They might just feel like names and I'm rattling off, but look, these are bulldozers with technique that you need to know. It's like SpongeBob said, technique. This line does not need an introduction, but because you don't know much about them, I'm going to give you one. They need defenders to come into 2025 and readjust their chin straps. There will be teams that try to bully ball Boise State, and it's not gonna happen. They're gonna end up sending your defenders out the club. They're gonna end up launching plays into the second level, and don't be surprised if Jambers Dubar or Sire Gaines or Malik Sherrod go crazy on you, and next thing you know, we got hit the road, Jack. Here's the truth. Here's the God honest truth. You can lose all the stars. You can lose the hype. You can lose all of it. Returning production. We live in this world now where returning production is vital. It's important. It's something that you need to know. But if you keep the spine of your team and it holds and it stays strong, bro, you keep the guys that have bled, sweat, cried in this cold, freezing temperatures that we have in Boise, Idaho. You are reloading. You ain't rebuilding nothing. And this is the Boise State offense in 2025. It's grit wrapped in tempo. It's precision clocked in brutality. Every unit is absolutely aligned. They're aligned with each other. Every position is just wired with talent, bro. They have it. Every position that I've been looking at on this team, even though I know they lost some players, but I'm saying like I don't see no gaping holes. Where are the gaping holes at? Because all of it is revolving around a quarterback with no fear. We have four running backs that have no chill. And then you have a tight end who moves like a linebacker. And linebackers, he's probably your worst nightmare. Matt Lauder. The Avalanche didn't melt in the 2024. It multiplied. Let's move on to Act 3 in this chapter of Boise State's deep dive. Act 3 is the trench gospel. The gospel according to Moon. There's no roar in the Avalanche without the rumble beneath the surface. And Boise State does not sell finesse to anybody. They sell absolute force and a force to be reckoned with. And while the skill players like Latrell Capel, Sire Gaines, Maddox Matson, they collect all the highlights, the glitz, the glamour. It's really the offensive line that collects the scars. And they smile and they're happy about it. That kind of bravado and energy is something that doesn't fade. It just deepens. You don't hang up 466 yards per game and allow the fewest sacks in the Mountain West just by chance. You do that because you actually have the belief in the five guys that are committed in a blood oath dipped in blue that they are literally going to leave their bodies on the line to protect this house. Let's just call it what it is. This is the best offensive line in all of the group of five. Get mad at me, App State. Get mad at me, JMU. Get mad at me, Toledo of Ohio. Get mad, please. I want to see you do it. Because when I start naming out these numbers, you're going to really start to understand why. Let's talk about first. God picturing on your screen. Let's talk about him. What up, Brian? We talking about your team, man. Come on down. Come on down. What's up, my dude? Boise State offensive lineman Cage Casey, all Mountain West first team 2024 year of our Lord. He stands at 6'5", 315 pounds of menace. He's the anchor. He's the All-American left tackle, and he doesn't just pass protect. He throws you out the club. He paints pockets with time. 14 starts last season. Zero mercy. You want edge speed? He's going to erase that and put it into the turf pellets. You want to bull rush him? Okay, you're going to meet the asphalt. Do that boy on the ground, boy. So much of this man's film is such a blessing to watch because he can slide inside and you can really start to see like, yo, he's going crazy on the line. It's all when you're watching film, it's easy to look at like the outside and what's going on. But man, when you got a kid named Cage, or that's spelled with a K, and then you see on film he plays like he's in a steel cage match. Yup. He's like that. He's a dude. The true giant killers are back, man. So let's slide inside. Let's do the cha-cha slide. Phil Steele preseason All Mountain West first team 2025 year of our Lord. Boise State offensive lineman Mason Rudolph. Let me introduce you to him. He's back at center. He might be a little soft spoken. He might be a little quiet, off in the cut, a little chill. But make no mistake, when that man gets on the field, he turns into a completely different person. And all he did in 2022 was make the freshman All-American team. Oh, okay. And then he spent 2023 and 2024 piecing together one of the most technically sound careers in recent Bronco history. I mean, think about it. No sacks allowed in over 100 pass block snaps last year. Say it again, Mo. No sacks allowed in over 100 pass block snaps last year, 2024. when all we needed was Mason Randolph to have our back and hold us down when the chips were down in the Mountain West Championship game, he was the best lineman on the field. Make no mistake about it. That's my guy, Mason Randolph. Let's talk about you next. Boise State offensive lineman Roger Carrion, Phil Steele preseason All Mountain West first team 2025. Yeah, to the right. You got the enforcer, 6'5", 306 pounds of New Mexico steel. No sacks allowed last season. None. He's a wall with bad intentions. When Boise State needed a push against Oregon, he delivered. Against Wyoming, he delivered. Against UNLV, he was a point of contact. He basically was your emergency contact in your phone. Who's more reliable than that guy? Roger Carrion. Better remember his name, my friend. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. This is going to be one of the deepest deep dives I ever did in my existence. I'm going all the way there. Let's keep going. Who is this kid? Boise State offensive lineman Tyler Keeney. Hopefully I said your name right, Tyler. If I didn't, please don't throw me out of the club. All Mountain West Fall 2024. See, I did it right. I'm giving you a love, bro. Tyler Keeney, the transfer who found his home now, and he's bleeding blue with the rest of the crew. He started in 8 games, allowed 0 sacks. Boise State, if you're looking for a Swiss Army knife that can come in and get the job done, look no further than that guy, because he is quiet, might be chill. You might see him, might be like, oh, man, he all right. Just based off of what you see on your screen. But if I show you that film, you're going to see brutality, fatality, just like Mortal Kombat. But he's also very precise. He's also precise. And he's getting better when it comes to his pass sets. I've been watching him, man, hearing a lot of good noise about Tyler Keeney heading into the season. And then last but not least, the players I want to talk about on this offensive line. Boise State offensive lineman Hall Schmidt, Phil Steele, preseason All Mountain West second team 2025. 6'7" giant from Gig Harbor, Washington, stand up. He started 12 last year and only allowed 1 sack in 300 reps of college football. You want to end the show now, Moon? I mean, we gave them bars. We've been giving them bars for like 45 minutes now. And then I even talk about the defense yet. He only allowed 1 sack in 300 snaps. What? Bro. Anybody that tried to debate what I said earlier about Boise State having the best lineman, best offensive line in all of G5, how you feel about that? That's not just stability, man. That's art. That is art. Boise has had some great tackles in their history. But Schmidt, he might be the next in line. He going to be second team Phil Steele 2025. He looking at first team this year, baby. It doesn't just stop there, man. Miles Walker, the Ohio State transfer, he's going to be waiting in the rotation for you. He's in the rotation waiting. Jack Steele, also there. JJ Tallow, also there. Carson Ramuson, he's there. And I didn't forget about you too, Greg. Love you too. They're not backups, bro. They are finishers, just waiting for snaps. They're finishers, just gutting it out there in that old hot Idaho cold. They built a line of absolute it's just like a fortress, bro. It has depth, hunger, real battle wounds and scars. And they said to themselves, you know what, Moon? We all going to stay together. In this wonderful world of college football where things can get so murky in the transfer portal and your team can just blow up after you just get your butts kicked by Penn State 31-14, and Abdul Carter wrecks game plans and Drew Aller barely escapes, and Ashton Jeanty gets boiled, just bottled up. You can easily just, man, bump this. Boise is too cold for me, bro. Nobody, ain't no girls here. Bro, these are kids we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. Like, at the end of the day, they are grown men on that football field. Hall Schmidt only allowed 300, one sack and 300 reps. These are grown men, but they get lonely too sometimes. It happens to the best of us. They go through challenges too sometimes, and you have to know that it probably was a challenge for them to say. And what can you lean in more than anything? What I talked to you about to start the show, Spencer Danielson, bro. Spencer Danielson. They probably said to themselves, "We're gonna stay because we love our coach. We're gonna stay because what better place to be? We're gonna stay because NFL draft. I mean, the scouts live in Boise. They live in Boise. They live in Boise. Spencer Danielson is the only FBS coach who, as an intern coach, won a conference championship. Nobody else has accomplished this. Bars, Brian. Boise joined FBS in 1997. In the 60s, they got all the way back there. Your Blue Bloods were already established by then, as Boise State was just coming up from the junior college status. Pop your top, bro. That's all I wanted to do this episode. I'm telling you, this was Act 3, the Trench Gospel. Now, let's move into Act 4, the Keepers of the Code. Let's take you back down to the screen. For all the love I just gave for the offensive linemen and everything, boys, man, listen, y'all better ball out this year. 100%. Better ball out. But on defense, it's the same sermon that I'm about to give you, but just a different gospel. This is the gospel according to Moon, but the dark side of the moon. On your screen, Boise State edge Braxton Feely, Field Steel preseason All Mountain West first team 2025. Braxton Feely is the pastor in the middle. 296 pounds of leverage and smoke. He wants all of it. All Mountain West first team. He does not get moved around. He moves others out the way. Last year, he had sacks in nearly every game that mattered the most. UCLA, when you needed him to come through clutch, what did he do? Come in clutch. UNLV, when you needed him to come in clutch, what did he do? Braxton Ely was all over your field. Penn State, when you needed him to show up and scratch all the button-up approach, Braxton, throw it all out the window, let it all hang on the floor. He showed up like a ghost in the backfield. Might as well be named Casper. Ooh, Braxton. I mean, that's what I felt when I was watching that man's tape. he can make the most hardcore football guys actually have a soft spot for him. That's the type of dude that he is. Let's move on to the next one. Next to him, David Latu. Second team All-America 2022 at Snow College. NJCAA, second team. His story is completely different than most. He's a BYU transferred from BYU, but he also has JUCO roots. So you're like, man, you're an interesting character in this story already. And then you see him play, and you like, man, he is an engine. And he's built for this trench warfare that they love to do in Boise, Idaho. And if you want disruption, look no further than Max Steege, the Cologne-born pass rusher who got a sack celebration ready for every continent because he lives in the backfield. Let's talk about the edge, because this is where it starts to get fun. Boise State edge Jaden Virgin Morton, lot MVP trophy watch list in 2025. Field Steel preseason All Mountain West first team 2025 year of our Lord. Jaden Virgin Morgan is Boise State's truth. 10 sacks last year. First team All Mountain West. He punishes offenses with fury. Last year, teams tried to scheme away from him. Guess what? He still hunted anyway. And when Boise needed a closer, Jaden Virgin Morgan. Virgin Morgan. This is Morgan and Morgan. Jaden Virgin Morgan showed up with smoke in his breath and carnage in his hands and said, "Look what I created for you, Moan. Look at my masterpiece." He's not a solo act though. Make no mistake. Jaden Virgin Morgan, he's gonna get all the accolades, the love, the hype, and everything, and it's all well warranted. The next Boise State pass rusher, edge, linebacker. He can really play multiple positions if you really want him to, but he's gonna be in talks for the NFL draft. Better believe it. Bet your bottom dollar. Then there's this kid, Boise State edge Malachi Williams. Malachi, all Big Sky honorable mention 2024 at Idaho. He transferred up. He said, I'm going for Idaho Vandals to being you see my blood? It's blue now. Long, explosive, finally playing in the Mountain West where I feel like he's been built and born to play in. Like together, they form a tandem between Jaden Virgin Morgan and Malachi Williams that are going to just wreak havoc, bro. They're going to rush the edge like pure blacksmiths with the hammer down, just going crazy. And the thing about Boise, they don't rotate because they're tired. They rotate because they can. They got Deion Washington, Keanu Mailatu, and then they also got Michael Madry. They are all built to start, and they could start on other defensive lines all across America. And instead, they enter in waves, and they just hit you with this blue wave, and then that blue wave, and then that blue wave, and then you're like, "Whoa! When does it stop?" It doesn't. Just like fresh rounds in a firefight. This is another wave and another wave. This trench unit that I just got done talking to you about is prophecy fulfilled. That's why I say I'm not to give you something deeper than a sermon, but it's going to be the same gospel. It's prophecy fulfilled. The offense is going to win you games, but the defense is going to finish the games for you. The defensive and offensive lines, they are going to carry you through the gates of hell. And Boise State's defensive and offensive lines are built for the long way back through the fire. This is the world of CFB.
Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. Bet US. Get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the off season, even though we don't celebrate that. You know, CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7. But there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. BetUS has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money. Go get that money, twin. We appreciate you tuning in to the show. Welcome to Moon Special Edition of World of College Football, hosted by the wonderful folks at CFB Nation, sponsored by BetUS. We got a new sponsor on the way very soon. We're excited to announce, but I'm going to keep that on hush mode right now. But if you know and you've been seeing and just paying attention, yeah, you kind of know who it is. Shout out to my guys. Let's keep going in the show. We're only in Act 4. We're about to be in Act 4 now. And we're about to move into our last 2 chapters of this deep dive. I kind of stripped this kind of like a book because I spent a lot of time. Out of all the research that I did, I probably spent about altogether about 7 hours watching film and or researching Boise State before I did this deep dive. So I wanted to make sure that it's like hitting all cylinders. We already talked about Chris Marshall. You know, I agree with you wholeheartedly when you talk about like him being a difference maker on this offense. Absolutely. Maddox Madsen threw for 3,000 last year. He gonna need somebody to throw the ball to, and now you don't have to worry about Jeanty being there and just kind of giving it to him and leaning on to him. You can see different variations of this offense, so that's gonna be fun. Going to be fun. You dropped the absolute bombshell when you said Spencer Danielson is the only FBS coach who, as an interim coach, won a conference championship. Nobody else has accomplished this. This is a Boise State fan talking. Brian, shake my hand. We made it to the day. You see, we got the blue representing, baby. Let's go. All right, let's keep the show rolling. Rolling on an avalanche. Yeah, we rolling on an avalanche. The keepers of the code. Sorry, I produce my own shows. Keepers of the code. There's a code that comes with being a Boise State Bronco, and it doesn't live in the locker room like you might think. It lives in how you get hit on a 3rd down and 2. It's in how you contain and have your jaw clenched and how your vision is clear now. It's how you walk with that different type of bravado and that energy. It's the silence of the 4th quarter and the eruption that follows. It is this defense where the code is absolute kept. It's kept tightly here. They say, zip your lips, close your mouth. I know closed mouths don't get fed, but closed mouths that keep secrets stay alive. And then I want to stay alive in 2025, Boise State. This defense is, I shouldn't even be telling y'all all this. I could get, something could happen to me, man. But I'm about to break down this defense to you. And I'm going to do it like sacred scripture. Because they keep it like sacred scripture. This Boise State unit is nasty, bro. I'm just trying to tell you. Let's keep the show going. This is Act 4 of this movie. Boise State linebacker Marco Natariani. Hopefully I said that right, Marco. I've been waiting to get to that moment in the show because I was like, either I'm going to fail or I'm going to get close to winning. Field Steel preseason All Mountain West first team 2025 year of our Lord. The linebackers are the ink that we write for the scriptures. They are the ink. Marco Noto Riani, he's a 6-year guy. He's been here for a minute now. Marco, he just got his stint from San Diego, but he is going to patrol this middle on the outsides like a man possessed in 2025. I shouldn't even be telling you this, bro. For the Devi guys or the IDP guys that are looking for their next guy that they're possibly going to fall in love with, here you go. This is your guy. He fills gaps. He wrecks game plans. He leads with violence. He has heart. He has discipline. He can be he is Mountain West first team. He is academic All-American. He is the cold carrier in every sense, but he is that dude. Like Marco is that dude. For real. Phil Steele already guaranteed it. He said he's for All Mountain West first team in 2025. And I said, all right, Marco, I'm starting to believe, but he plays with that energy that you will love. And I'm kind of like trying not to say too much, but I'm trying to say enough. If you're looking for anybody that you probably could fall in love with in this defense, it's probably him, Marco. Because like he plays with that passion of a 6-year player that he knows that it's his last ride, like the Undertaker. He knows that on the other side of this, it awaits many different opportunities, and he did everything that you can want. Academic All-American. So outside of football, Marco is good. He don't need to play football. Like if Marco decided to go be a billionaire stock exec, whatever he wants to do with his major or get into whatever lane that he decided to get into, Marco could very well do that because he has the smarts to do that. But he is insanely gifted and blessed by God to have a type of energy that the entire team would call infectious, and they rally around him. And in his linebacker core, you're going to need a guy that has a few screws loose, a guy that you can stick into situations that might not seem favorable, and then you end up on the other end, and it's advantageous for you. Marco can be that for you. Let's take a look at the next guy. Boise State linebacker Jack Ripp, 2-time All-Academic Mountain West Fall 2023 and 2024. Jack Ripp is a special teams demon turned linebacker truth, and he led the Broncos in special team snaps in 2024. Now he's getting a chance to step into the perfect situation, hunting downhill full time and not have to worry about the special team as much. I mean, he got it out the mud. If anybody did, he worked his way up. He worked his way up this depth chart and said, it's time for me to have the hammer now. He's going to bring his own forge to this Avalanche defense. He's going to be hitting on all cylinders in 2025. And when you talk about a guy that did special teams and got it out the mud, he knows one word and one word more than anything: relentless. That is Jake Rip. But if for all the love that I gave to the linebacker core, because, you know, from Marco to Jake, this defensive back room and the rest of the linebacker core is still has some pieces. But again, this deep dive will be 3 hours long. Let's talk about the back end. Boise State DB Ty Benefield, Phil Steele preseason All Mountain West first team 2025. We can start with Ty. A 6'2" free safety who is equal parts ball hawk and field general. 82 tackles in 2024. 2 picks, team high in snaps, so you can count on him at the very most to be where the ball is and be on the field. He is a closer, a chess piece with linebacker hips and cornerback instincts. He could come in and play multiple positions for Boise State in 2025. And if the defensive coordinator decided to really get out of his own way and say, I'm about to unleash, turn into Dexter in the laboratory, then you could put this kid at anywhere you want to. For real. Ty Benefield is that talented. He can play anywhere he wants to. 100%. I believe it. Next, there's Zion Washington, Boise State DB, 3-time academic All-Mountain West in the fall of 2022, 23, and 24. He's the bruiser at boundary safety. He doesn't tackle, he detonates people. 9 stops at Oregon. He showed up where we needed him to absolutely do it the most. He plays like his hair is on fire. He had 8 more tackles in the Mountain West Championship game, so he closed the season off with a bang. His stat line is just inked with forced fumbles, open field destructions, a resume of hurt. Look no further than Zion Washington. He is what you would want in this defense. He's a dream if you're a defense coordinator. I mean, they got some dogs. Some dogs. Ty and Zion by themselves can make a grown man cry. I'm about to make you shed thug tears like Marion McCoy, defensive back, Boise State Broncos, Phil Steele preseason All Mountain West first team 2025. Marion McCoy is the best DB in the Mountain West. I'm just going to raise my hand and just go ahead and tell you that there. I showed you a picture of him celebrating. Shout out to Boise State Athletics for the photo. Because he has that energy. He has that fun. He brings people to life. He has that infectious DNA that just rubs off on all of his teammates. And when that man starts to get in the room, he starts to get excited. The rest of the boys have no choice but to get excited. It's like when one dog starts barking, the other dogs just start barking for no reason. They don't even know what's going on. All I know is Amarion said it. He is a leader of this defense, the most feared DB in all of the Mountain West. 14 pass breakups, a pick 6, a national leader in forced incompletions. Every time the ball leaves the quarterback's hands, it's like Marion McCoy is already 5 steps into the future. And somehow, some way, he comes up. It just makes play after play after play. You want a guy that's going to get the job done, and when you need it the most, Boise State fans. Hey, Brian P. Browning, I know you're watching. My God. You want to look for somebody that's going to get the job done? You already know about Marion McCoy. Marion McCoy is a dog. A dog, I tell you. Boise State DB Jeremiah Eby, Phil Steele preseason All Mountain West third team in 2025. This is the Cal transfer. He's going to live on the other side. He is big frame. Quiet confidence that's growing more and more. They put him out there so that he can get snaps. He's one of the best games of his life in the Mountain West Championship, and he started to just continue to apex. He shut down coverage. He had a pick, multiple breakups, and he's not chasing clout, bro. He's erasing all clout. He's making sure everybody knows that I can play on the boundary on the outside in a conference that has some dudes at wide receiver. And then you start talking about depth. Just look at his box scores and just see how coaches are starting to trust him more in the spring. I'm hearing positive things about Earby in the spring. As we get out of spring, it's just like his stock is continuing to go up. And I won't be surprised if they continue to add more to the depth, because the depth doesn't just stop there, people. Jaden Mickey, formerly at Notre Dame, he's going to come in and contribute. David Banks, a Washington product with track speed and a nasty streak to him. He's going to come in and add to this depth in this DB room. Demetrius Freeney and Taj Crutchfield, the up in corners that's going to come in and get you some action. They rotate like a machine. They always are fresh and always keyed in. Boise State has a tendency of rotating guys, so a lot of their kids play snaps and meaningful ones. The guy that's on your screen, Jeremiah Earby, he contribute probably in the best moment of his life in the conference championship game, Mountain West. So I'm looking at this team and I'm saying to myself, this is the soul. 55 sacks in 2024. That was nation lead. They lost Simpson and they lost Hassanin. Ahmad. Hassanin. You better remember the name. Dude is like that. And somehow, some way, they just keep growing together. Somehow, some way, it just seems like the Avalanche just keeps growing stronger. Because the code, it's not built on whether you are a 5-star blue chipper prospect. It's not built on that. It's built on the standard, because the standard is the standard at Boise State. You just have to show up every single snap and treat it like a personal war. Absolutely. Let's introduce Act 5 into the equation. Every season starts with some smoke, some hope, some helium, some hype, but only a few teams actually find out where the fire is located. This is Act 5, the fire in the smoke. Why do you start there, Mo? Well, let's break it down even further for you. I titled this deep dive, The Return of the Avalanche, because Idaho's mountains, they are known traditionally, specifically in the Sawtooth Salmon River side, and I can't forget about Selkirk, but they always have a high frequency of avalanches due to the varied slopes that you see all the time, the frequent winter storms, because it's always going crazy, and they have deep snowpacks. When I look at this, it just felt like the perfect analogy to showcase how I feel like Boise State will be in 2025. Boise State lived all of this down in 2024. It was a perfect blend of talent, timing, pain, 11 wins, a Mountain West title, a sold-out stadium that shook with memory on every single occasion, a Heisman caliber player that NFL just got blessed, and a trip to the college football playoff. That's the kind of season that most Group of 5 schools only whisper about in fundraising banquets, trying to convince the higher ups to donate more funds. Like, come on. They earned a first round bye. The blue turf, it glowed brighter than ever. But when they walked into the second round and ran into Penn State in the Nittany Lions, led by Drew Aller, Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton, Abdul Carter, and the rest of the crazy team that they had this year, that's when reality hit, and hit hard for Boise State and the Broncos fans. But Boise didn't fold, though. They fought. They got beat 31-14. And when that final whistle echoed through the desert air out there in the Fiesta, it carried more than just the sound of defeat for the Broncos. It carried a certain type of resolve and quiet confidence that emerged from that moment. Because here's what most teams miss when they go through those experiences. They miss that the fire doesn't burn hottest when you're chasing glory. It burns after you touch it and after you lose it. That's what makes 2025 dangerous for the rest of the entire country. Do you see all of that blue? Boise is not guessing anymore. He's not guessing no more. Spencer Danielson isn't not guessing who his identity is. His identity is firmly rooted in his foundation. They are not hoping to get noticed by the committee of the college football playoff. Hey, we're Boise. We're over here in Idaho. Hey, pick me, pick me. No, they know that they belong. They know this. And now, when they return 67% of their entire roster in 2025, 10 linemen with starting experience, a quarterback that already threw for 3,000 yards in his first freshman season, a redshirt. Oh, yeah. It's still first time starter, though. 3,000 yards is crazy. A tight end who might be the best in the country, most underrated for sure. A defense with blood underneath its fingernails, a coach with Spencer Danielson who's going to put his belief in the culture and his belief in Jesus Christ over everything else, because I feel like that is the culture. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. I'm not betting against that guy. You're not going to get me to. Nope. Not happening. Not happening. Won't see me betting against Boise State. They got the schedule to do it again. Did you know that Boise State is favored in 11 out of 12 games in 2025 year of our Lord? And the only game where they're an underdog is a road trip to touchdown Jesus. That's the only underdog matchup in 2025. But you better bet your bottom dollar that coach, where's he at? Where's he at? That coach, he's going to try to tell them, listen, greater is he that is in me than he that is in touchdown Jesus. That's what he's about to tell him. 100%. That's not luck, bro. That's magic. No, it's not magic, Moon. No, that's the reward of being called to conquer. And that's what Boise State is in 2025, because they are not chasing Cinderella dreams or not asking for inclusion just as another G5 afterthought. No, they're looking for revenge while mastering the controllables that they can. Don't be surprised when the smoke starts to clear and Boise State is still standing in the fire, smiling through the ashes. It's not going to be called luck. I'm not going to be able to call it magic. That's just the duty of being called to conquer. And this time, Boise State is going to finish what they started. This was the Boise State Broncos return of the Avalanche deep dive presented by Moon. Yes, sir. Oh, we made it to the end. I told you, boys. I went an hour and 12 minutes on Boise State. I spent like 20 minutes alone on coaches. And I could have talked about the whole coaching staff because they got some key additions. It's going to be nice. I could have talked about the recruiting class because, y'all got some kids coming in. Yes, Breezy, Jabris Dubar, Breezy, Sire Gaines getting a lot of love. Some people think that Sire's going to be the guy. He's going to be the bell cow. But I feel like Breezy is just I'm in love. I've been in love since we did Debbie Darling's and we did the breakdown of Breezy. Shout out to Nino Brown downtown, and shout out to Dino for everything that they do for CFB Nation and also for Debbie Darling's and putting us on to Breezy Dubar before really the world was paying attention to. He's a former 4-star prospect that has a lot of juice. I love his size for especially the way that Spencer Danielson loves to run the rock. Spencer Danielson already told us 100% in the offseason that they are going to lean into running the ball, and it doesn't matter that Ashton Jeanty left, bro. We're just going to spread that 2,000 plus yards, 2,601. Yeah, we're going to spread that out through 3-4 guys now. By the time we get to camp, it's going to be interesting to see who's got the control in the running back room. I love Caples. Caples is the model of consistency for us. I love where we are with Chris coming in. I feel like Chris is going to add so much for the wide receiver room. And if he continues to just ball out, bro, it's perfect for him in his extension. I already talked to you in droves about the offensive line. I could have spent a whole hour on the offensive line by themselves, just going down all of their stats and peak performances, things that stuck out to me on film, or even going back to their high school tape and them throwing people out the club. The defensive line, even though they lost some talent in Hassanin and They still got 55 plus sacks last year, which is absolutely insane. Like the defensive line is still going to be like that. They got some transfers that came in, like some from Ohio State on the offensive line. They got some Cal dudes coming in. But I'm just saying, like, don't be surprised when you look up at the end of 2025 and you be like, goodness gracious, Boise is here again. Yep. They're projected to win in pretty much every single Mountain West game, and it's not even close. According to K4's metrics, basically Boise has a 99% chance, I think, to finish with a winning record in conference. In conference play. 99%. You can bet your bottom dollar. And you talk about going undefeated. I feel like Boise has the clearest path out of any G5 contender or pretender that's out there that can sweep the table in conference play. 100%. 100%. And I also didn't mention that Jaden Virgin Morgan is probably one of the most underrated assets for this team coming back in 2025 because his presence alone, especially on the edge, is going to help them reach their goals of what they want to reach with 50 plus sacks. They have 55. That was the nation's lead. So one of the nation leading teams. So they want to continue to be disruptive on defense. They want to continue to lean on the high caliber approach and being dominant in the trenches. They want to lean on their motto of consistency, which is Coach Spencer Danielson. And more importantly, they will lean on their faith, their love of Jesus Christ, and more importantly, their chemistry as a team. They're going to love it. I'm not echoing anything that Boise State probably wouldn't tell you themselves. Can't wait to see y'all soon on the CFB Nation tour in Boise, Idaho. 100%. Kobe Young, 6'7" receiver we just picked up. He played basketball for Boise State prior, but he could potentially be a premier receiver with his hands abilities. Listen, they're going to get him on the field. I don't put it past them that they're going to have special formations for him. He's a red zone asset. He can come in. He can come in just based on his size alone and compete, whether it's in the wide receiver room, tight end room. I don't know what their plans are 100%, but he reminds me of LSU's tight end. Um, his name is slipping my mind right now, but LSU has like a freakish 6'8" tight end that's in right now. He's like in that same type of mold. How do they use him? That's what I want to see for Boise in 2025. So yes, man, for this deep dive where I hit my target goals and we covered on everything that I needed to say. Did I miss anything? Let me check. Let me check my phone. Gotta see if I missed anything. Did I miss anything? Oh, Austin Bolt. Austin Bolt's been banged up, bro. Austin Bolt has been banged up at wide receiver, but he's finally coming into some good fortune right now. And I think Austin Bolt can contribute this year. Chris Marshall is probably one of my favorite wide receivers, but you start looking at the measurables, bro. This room is loaded. Like Austin Bolt is 6'3", 215. Chris Marshall is 6'3", 211. Matt Lauder is 6'3", 240. The offensive line is all huge, all over 300 plus pounds. The Malik Sherrard, I mean, bro, they just loaded. They're loaded. Latrell Caples is the shortest one, and he's 6 foot. So they'll be just fine. They'll be just fine. You look at their schedule, 2025 at South Florida. At South Florida, I feel like that's going to be a dub. Eastern Washington on September 6th, that's going to be a dub. September 20th at Air Force, dub. September 27th at App State. Oh no, they're home versus App State. Well, welcome to your new paradise, App State. Out there in Boise, Idaho, dub. At Notre Dame, loss. Versus New Mexico, dub. I got them sweeping all through conference play. UNLV at Nevada, Fresno State at San Diego State, Colorado State at home on November 22nd, right before Thanksgiving. And then to close it all out on rivalry weekend at Utah State. Come on, bro. They probably gonna run the conference. And you think I'm crazy? They did it last year. The only loss that they had out of conference was against Oregon, and they lost by a field goal. They lost by a field goal, 37-34 at Oregon. And actually, Jeanty played the game of his life. Crazy. There's too many players that play the game of their life. Won the Mountain West Championship. I understand UNLV still exists in the conference. I get it. I understand San Jose State is on the up and coming. I get it. I get it. I get it. But ever since the worst thing that the country should have did was let Boise get to the college football playoff, because now they know what that feels like. And once you start going and thinking about it, I'll tie it all in a knot. It's the law of exposure. Sometimes God will expose you to things, and you might be like, "Dang, bro, why didn't I conquer it like in the way that I wanted to?" It's not that you're not meant to conquer. You are called to conquer, Boise State. It's just the fact that we need to get you exposed to this experience first, so that you know that you will never be the same going back to Boise, Idaho after you leave from Glendale, Arizona. You're never going to look at life the same again, because you have a taste. You have a taste. They say taste and see, right? You have a taste of what it was like to actually smell that national championship just so close, so close. Sometimes that can either haunt a team or that can liberate a team. It can liberate you, because it's like, all right, God, what else you got for me, bro? What else you got for me, bro? Like, what's next? What's next for us? Most people could look at that as a negative, that they got the experience and they got whooped against Penn State. But I look at that as probably going to be the reason why the country should fear these boys, because you going to go to the mountaintop. Bro. I'm not going to be surprised if Boise State goes 11-1 again in the year 2025. I would not be surprised. The thing that would surprise me more is if the team doesn't hit on all cylinders and they end up at like 8-5. I'll be like, yo, that something is terribly wrong. It was either injuries, it was either crash outs, it was just Avalanche season for the whole program. But I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. What? I can't even see 5 losses on their schedule. That's like crazy. That's what I look at with Boise State. I appreciate you tuning in to this deep dive. I'm your boy Moon, credential media member of the CFB Nation, the fastest growing college football entity in the world. And we want to give you your love and your roses for watching this episode. If you're a Boise State fan, let me know in the comments how you felt about it. You can grill me if you want to. I know I'm animated. I'm a character, bro. I understand. But you talk about ball talk, I try to give y'all nothing but ball talk. So let me know in the comments how y'all feel about it. If you're a college football fan that's out there and you're not a fan of Boise State, but you're just looking at it and saying, hey, well, it's good to know more information about Boise, let me know how you feel about it. What are your projections for Boise? Do you think that it's capped to look at their schedule and say, oh, man, they're going to sweep through everything? Shoot, let me know. Call it out. Call a spade a spade. Shout your favorite team out in the chat. I love you. And to you watching, we appreciate everybody that's been watching the shows. Y'all been doing amazing. To God be the glory, man. And I want to just shout out to y'all, because I know I would still be going, but for those that's watching, y'all could be doing anything, doing whatever, but y'all looking at my big head, listening to my voice, hear you talking about Boise State for the last hour and some change now. So yeah, thank you. From our sponsors to yours, thank you. I feel like GPB. This message is brought to you by the letter L, because we won't be taking much of those in Boise this year. Until the next episode, special shout out to our sponsors, CFB Nation. Until next time, keep it locked, stay loaded, because you never know when the next deep dive is going to drop on your head tops. Until next time, you playing catch up today, dog? Hey, man, I want you to know I did this deep dive specifically for you. I say, if I only know one Boise State fan in my life, I know it's Brian. And then you commented on the last video and was like, first off, thank you for your comment. He was like, where's the Boise State deep dive? I said, little does he know, I'm already cooking up something. And Moon is on. We're in the money. I appreciate all the love, man. Much love to y'all. Hope y'all have a great day. Enjoy it to the fullest. And until the next episode of College Football Nation special presentation of World of CFB, this is y'all off until y'all night. Enjoy.